Hi everybody and welcome to your tech tip of the week. With our most recent snow visit, I thought that it would be a great idea to show you how you can use Webex to hold your meetings and your classes that you might have trouble getting to in the case of something like a snowstorm, or if something were to happen where you can't actually be in the place you need to be to actually have that meeting or that class. Webex is something that is offered to our staff and our faculty here, and we all have accounts for it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to log into Webex and create meetings and log into them. So this way you can actually hold your classes and your meetings without skipping a beat. So I have a browser window open here, and at the top I just want to go to wagner.webex.com. And here in the upper right hand corner it says log in. Now your username and password for this is the same as your All Access Pass. So this might show up here. Just press this little arrow here at the top to get your menu here. Now faculty members should use the Training Center and staff members should use the Meeting Center. Both of them are actually almost identical, with the Training Center having a few more features that would apply to a classroom setting. So the first one I want to show you is how to create a meeting in the Training Center. So here at the top you click on Training Center, and on the left hand side under Host the Session you click Schedule Training. So now we just think of a topic. So I'm just going to use Webex Training, just in this case. You can set a session password if you want. We're not actually going to go into that, and in this video it's just a way to basically show you how to create a session and how to start that session. You can also get a copy of the attendee invitation sent to you if you like. You can check that off. The only conference type we use is VoIP, which means voice over IP. So there's no calling in. It's basically using your microphone and your camera directly from your computer. Now your date and time is obviously the most important, and I'm just going to make this 10 a.m. I'm going to leave everything as is, and you would choose the occurrence of this. Now I'm just going to choose a single session class and say that it's going to be an hour. For registration, you can require your attendees to register. You can also require to automatically approve those registration requests. So then the attendees portion is your next most important thing that you need to do, because these are the people that are going to be invited to your meeting. So I just want to, in the Training Center, you have to actually put them in your address book first. So I'm going to click Invite Attendees. And if you have contacts already made, you can click Select Contacts and put them in from here. But if you don't, you can then, so I'm just going to write Christina Dempsey, and let's just put this email address here. You could put a phone number or language. I'm just going to put the email and the full name since that's the only thing that's required, and click Add Attendee. Then I just want to check off the attendee that I added to the contact list and click Invite. Then you can see that the name gets added here as well. Now you can add as many attendees as you like in this sense. We're only going to do one. Everything else is pretty much normal. You have your presenters. If you are hosting but you're inviting someone to present, you would actually invite them the same way that you would invite your attendee. The session options are features that you want available to your participants. So most of the time I just leave these features as is and I don't touch them unless I want something specific for my session that wouldn't require any of these things. But most of it, just if I'm setting up a presentation, I just leave all of this stuff as is. The email options and the breakout sessions, all of this stuff that you're going to see here are things that can be discussed at a later date and are not actually necessary to just create a basic invitation. So in this case, for this tutorial, we have done everything that we need to do to just create a basic session. So now here at the bottom, you'll see where it says schedule, start session, or cancel. I don't want to start the session yet. I just want to schedule the session. So now it says my session has been scheduled, and if I were to go into my email, I would get an invitation from that session letting me know that my session has been scheduled and I can join it. So that is how you schedule a Training Center meeting. If you want to schedule a Meeting Center, all you do is go here at the top and click on Meeting Center. Under Host a Meeting, much like the Training Center, you click Schedule a Meeting. Now for a meeting, it's obviously a little bit more straightforward, much faster actually than the Training Center. So again, you just do Webex Training, or whatever your meeting topic is, the date, the time of when it's supposed to start. So we'll do 10 a.m. or p.m. How long the duration is, and again, you just put in your attendees. So you don't have to do the same thing that you had to do in the training center where you have to add them to the contact list first. You can just put their email address in and that's it. And then you click schedule meeting, and then your Webex training meeting has been scheduled. After you schedule these meetings, you will get an email sent to your inbox letting you know that your Webex meeting has been scheduled with all the information that you need for that. So now that your meetings have been scheduled, let's say it's time for those meetings to take place. Now, I always suggest if you're going to have these Webex trainings that you log in at least 10 to 15 minutes before your participants get there. That way you can set up anything that you need, add any agendas, or add any documents that you want them to view, or just to make sure that everything is fine. A lot of the time people that come in will have questions about how to set up or whatever. So in order for you to start your sessions, you would go here to My Webex, go to My Meetings here on the left-hand side, and you want to, the option here is the meetings that you host. So there are two options. You can choose the meetings you host and the meetings that you're invited to. So obviously these are ones that you have started and you have invited people to, so we'll leave that option as that. And then all you have to do is press start on whichever one of these you want. So we'll just start the meeting, but you can see the type here. That's how you know which one that you're starting. So if you click start, you might get this option here as well. So if you haven't used Webex before, you have to run the client on your computer. It's very simple. You just follow the instructions that they give you. In this case, I'm using Chrome, so I'm just pressing and following the instructions, asking them what it is. And you see, it was very fast. If you're using another browser, it will ask you to run the file on your computer just so you can get your meeting started. But it's very straightforward, so you won't have to worry about it being something confusing. So now Webex is preparing my meeting, and the percentage is, once it gets to 100, will be complete. So you just have to wait for it to be finished. And then it gives you your options here. So you have your quick start page here, and then the actual meeting info. Here at the top you have your participants, and you want to click to make sure that those options show up here. And that's basically it. As your participants log in, they'll show up here on the right hand side, and Training Center looks almost identical to that. We're not going to go into how to actually hold the meeting. That's something that is a little bit more detailed, and you can always contact me directly if you want to know a little bit more about the features. The one thing that is important that you want to make sure you do is you connect to audio, so that way your participants can actually hear you when you're trying to have a conversation with them. So when you're ready and you're completely done with your meeting or your training, here at the top you can press File and End Meeting, and that will say, do you want to end this meeting? And you would say End Meeting. And that'll disconnect everything. The participants that are invited to your meetings or your trainings will get an email, and in the email there'll be a link for them to join. And if you require them to register, they would have to put their name and their email address, and that will basically get them logged in and ready to go. So that's it. That's how you can schedule a training center meeting or a meeting center meeting on Webex. This is a really great feature for situations where things come up and you can't be where you need to be. You can actually have your class or have your meeting using Webex, and it allows you to carry on without skipping a beat. I hope you enjoyed this tip and that you found it useful. Please tune in next week for our Tech Tip of the Week. Have a great weekend.